Ladies and gentlemen, history is filled with battles, revolutions, triumphs, and death. But while many deaths are tragic, a few are so bizarre they seem almost fictional. Today, I want to share with you one of the most legendary and peculiar deaths in European history, the tale of George Plantagenet, the Duke of Clarence, who, according to both historical record and rumor, was executed by being drowned in a barrel of wine. This story combines royal intrigue, betrayal, and the absurd, and leaves us with a powerful reminder that even in the corridors of power, death can be strange, ironic, and unforgettable. Let's begin with the man himself. George Plantagenet, Duke of Clarence, was born in 1449. He was the brother of King Edward IV of England and Richard III, both key figures in the Wars of the Roses, a series of dynastic civil wars between the houses of York and Lancaster in the 15th century. George was ambitious, intelligent, and at times, dangerously disloyal. Though he supported his brother Edward in taking the throne, he would later conspire against him, driven by personal grievances and political ambition. His life was one of shifting allegiances and courtly scheming, and ultimately, his betrayal would lead to his downfall. To fully appreciate this strange tale, we must understand the backdrop of political chaos in which it unfolded. The Wars of the Roses were brutal and confusing. Families were divided. Loyalties changed frequently. Kings rose and fell at the whim of nobles and armies. Edward IV became king in 1461, with support from the powerful Earl of Warwick, also known as the Kingmaker. But when Edward asserted too much independence, Warwick turned against him. George Plantagenet, married to Warwick's daughter, sided with his father-in-law against his own brother. This rebellion failed, and Edward forgave George, for a while. But George continued plotting. He accused people at court of treason, undermined the royal family, and even questioned the legitimacy of his brother's marriage. Eventually, Edward IV had enough. In 1478, George Plantagenet was arrested and imprisoned in the Tower of London. Accused of treason, he was tried by Parliament. But here's where the story becomes mysterious and darkly fascinating. Instead of a public execution, like beheading, George received a private execution within the Tower. Historians believe this was done out of royal embarrassment. The king didn't want to publicly kill his own brother. And here comes the legend. According to several accounts, most famously that of William Shakespeare, George Plantagenet was executed by being drowned in a large barrel of Malmsey wine. Shakespeare immortalized this death in his play Richard III, where the character of Clarence has a haunting dream about drowning before being murdered. So, did George really